All right, beta patch 1.6.3 has just dropped from Bannerlord, and we're going to go through them here today. But in my typical fashion, I'm going to first upfront the knowledge here so you can stick around if you so wish after we go through the kind of spark notes of some of the bigger changes that have happened in 1.6.3. So one of the big things here is adding a legacy option for order layout. What this will essentially do is revert the layout of the orders screen, like when you press F1 on the battle map, to the original inception of when the game first came out. So as it is now, I think it's F1 are all your different, like, okay, F1 charge, F1 advance, whatever. And then F2 is your change of formation now. Previously, F2 used to be face enemy and F3 used to be change formation. So if you like that layout better, you now have that chance. Now, the biggest thing I'd say that this patch adds, is the ability for the campaign to now dynamically change. So as it were, prior to this patch, if you got into a fight with the AI, they would have a chance to die. Well, now they have a chance to die anytime they run a simulation against each other. So across the battle map, there's about less than a 5% chance that AI will die whenever they're fighting each other, which is huge. This means that the campaign map will now dynamically change without your interference. The rulers of entire nations can just die just by happenstance, lower than 5%, of course, or prominent individuals in power can die. So this creates power vacuums. This was going to create a dynamic campaign that allows for this shift in the nation outside of your influence. And that is huge. It's going to make the game really feel more alive, so that when, everyone actually is going to have a little bit more true to form campaign in the sense that it's truly unique to you. You're going to see a Reddit post now of some guy saying like, yeah, I joined this faction and just by happenstance, the Munchung was already dead or something like that. So we're going to probably see a lot more of that stuff happening. Also, there's some new things like they've added some menu images. So when you go to taverns, they now have a nice little image there that's custom to each culture. They did this with arenas a while back, and with the actual towns, the little background on it is different. So just a nice little quality of life upgrade to make it a little more immersive. Also, all of the menus in the game now, all the full screen menus like character, diplomacy, party, they have this same kind of animation that the inventory screen does. They will slide onto the screen rather than just randomly appearing. And then there's been a lot of optimization changes with the general memory usage on the campaign map and battle map. That goes without saying, but for some reason this feels jarringly smooth than it was last patch. 1.6.2 felt great to me. It didn't feel slow, but jumping into 1.6.3, it just feels buttery smooth. And I already have a pretty extreme machine, so your mileage may vary on that, and please just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because if you don't have my specs, you might jump into the game and be like, still not running great for me, guy. So please just kind of take that as it is. It just could be my machine. They did also do a lot of optimization with the menus, so that might have increased any of the menu lag some of you are experiencing. But that is pretty much it. Oh, I guess there's also a new ornate battle crown for the Aserai. That's your Spark Notes down and dirty, about 4-minute breakdown of patch 1.6.3. If that's all you wanted to know, feel free to shut the video down and head on out. But before you do, please don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe. Each one of those things helps me out in varying degrees, and I can't tell you how appreciative I am for supporting the channel. But for those that want to get down and dirty in the 1.6.3 patch notes, let's jump on in. And there's not a ton of patch notes to go into here, but there's still plenty of good juicy things. As always, guys, please make sure you're going through the crash log if you are experiencing a ton of crashes to see if any of these apply to you. I didn't know any big standout ones, so moving on from there. Performance, we got campaign memory optimization. Like I was saying, I definitely noticed that on the campaign map. Campaign behavior event optimization as well, memory usage improvements in custom battles, and a minor UI related improvements in memory usage. So hopefully that latter one will apply to you if you're having any issues with the UI, having a lot of screen lag and what have you. I have not experienced that at all, so I guess I'm just fortunate. So maybe that is going to help you out there. Some save and load and localization improvements and changes, but we get a new ornate battle crown for the Aserai Lords. You probably saw it on the thumbnail, and I will show it off to you in just a little bit. Also, we get some minor fixes to Khazate Empire and Sturgia Castle and town scenes. Also Blondia as well in that town scene section. But why that is so important is If you saw the stream we did testing sieges, we noticed that the older scenes that were not quite yet updated had older nav meshes, which resulted in a very not so fun siege for the attacker. The AI typically gets hung up on weird little points. They won't use the ladders. The battering rams get all kind of funky. I'm sorry, they'll use the ladders. That was fixed in a patch. They won't use the siege towers. With the updated nav meshes and the fixes to scenes, that would now hopefully include a lot of the castles and towns that have these nav mesh issues and hopefully have been improved. I have not tested that, but I always kind of highlight that as a good little ditty. Now moving into UI, we get improve the receive, pay, tribute visuals in the Kingdom Diplomacy tab. Move the initial banner selection and clan naming to the character creation and sandbox mode, which just makes so much sense, and I'm a huge fan of that. Added new tavern game menu images for all the main cultures, and I'll show you guys that once we jump into the game. Least expensive horses are now used first while upgrading troops. I put that in purple because it's my favorite color, and it is one of the best patch notes here because you're no longer going to have upgrading units consume your really nice high quality war horses and such like that unless they actually need a war horse, and even then they're going to choose the cheapest war horse. A very nice improvement. General improvements to banner visuals, just some tweaking with the actual alignment from what they've told me. Not anything crazy. Like right now there's a lot of pixelation and a lot of issues on the edges and borders of some of those banner images. They said that some of those improvements and tweaks are coming in the future though, so we can be on the lookout for those. For battles and sieges, introduced death of the NPCs in simulation battles. Like I was saying, this is around less than 5% and is going to dynamically change the campaign. It is massive. So basically what I can do is I can just go into a town, press wait here, walk away from the computer for however long I want to, unless the computer melts because it's just playing Bannerlord that hard, and come back, and the world should have changed in the sense that the power of each nation should have shifted with people dying off. Again, less than 5% is not that high, but if it's going over hours and hours and hours in simulation, people are going to die just by the law of averages. Decrease the chance of death caused by battle wounds in missions for all heroes except the player, which is nice. You know, that way you can actually take your heroes along with you and they have a lower chance of dying because you don't want to have them die in some random bandit cave or attack and then just lose them in the campaign map. The player is from now on able to attack disbanding parties. So if you won a battle and everyone was running away, you couldn't do anything. You can now do stuff. So that has been re-added back into the game. Improve the way attribute and focus points are distributed for the AI, so you will hopefully no longer get wonky heroes that say, hey, you know, this is so-and-so that focuses heavily on medicine. Medicine, and you get them and they just have all their points poured into nothing but an actual attribute that is actually for like combat and nothing for medicine. You're like, well, what the hell? So this should actually be fixed there. Settlement and actions increase the relation gain from emissaries to 5 from 3, but decrease the emissary's relation gain chance. From now on, an emissary will be able to gain relation only once per day with either a noble or a notable. We were noticing that this was actually kind of broken. You just be getting 3 relation pretty consistently. And so they pretty much put a day cap on it, and they've increased the amount that you gain. So it's like, okay, you're going to get 5 per day if you gain, rather than just 3 every 2-3 hours. Like it was kind of a pretty disgusting system prior to this. So that's been kind of balanced out and rechecked. For quests, we get a new quest called Betting Fraud. Quest summary: a gang leader offers you a deal to fix 5 tournaments and share the profit from the bet winnings. That's kind of a fun little ditty right there. Moving down here, for the most part, for both, they added a legacy option for the order layout, and I will show that to you in the campaign map, or I'm sorry, in the battle map as well, so you can see how that plays out. But this is for all those people that do not like the new order layout and they miss the old one. But for the most part, that's it, other than combat here. Double tap acceleration and slowing down for mounted mounted movements. Agility is now related to the weight of the mount. So if you have a particularly heavy horse and you want to stop and, you know, e-brake and drift over to the right side because you're on Tokyo Drifts and we all got family, Brian, well, then you're going to need to take a look at the weight of that mount. Its agility is going to be affected by that. So if you're playing a horse archer, you're going to want a lighter, more agile mount than, say, a heavy cav, you know, shock knight that you're playing that doesn't really need to take these hard e-brake turns on the battle map. So those are all of our patch notes. Let's actually jump into the game itself. Like I said, not a ton to jump into here. The biggest thing is that dynamic map change. I can't stress how awesome that is going to be going forward for all of us that are playing and actually have now a kind of custom campaign that is true to us. Let's now move into the actual game. And it's worth noting that my experience of 1.6.3, while rather limited, I did not really experience any crashing. The only crashing I did experience was when I tried to load a save from a modded game. So for the most part, everything is good. You are clear to load the game on your current save. Even the new dynamic changes to the 5% death chance of the AI in simulations will work retroactively. So it'll work on your previous saves. You don't need to start a new campaign. You are good to go. So let's now, again, like I said, jump into the game. First item on the list is the item. And here is the Sultan's steel cap, kind of the pinnacle helmet for the Aserai. But now we get the ornate desert battle crown. And you can see that it has a little bit less armor, but it is a little bit less, or a little bit lighter as well. And it is pretty sweet looking. I really enjoy it. I've actually really enjoyed the new Aserai editions. I can't wait for them to add more like chest armor and shoulder armor for Aserai, especially hand and leg armor for all the other cultures. But stoked to see this addition to the Aserai. Now let's move into another little addition to the game. And that is our new tavern screens. So if I go to the Tavern District, here you get this. This is unique to the Aserai. This is the new background image for them. And if I, okay, we're going to save first before I show you this. If I jump all the way over to, let's just go to this location. That's being besieged. Let's go right here. Go to Tavern District. You can see this is for the Imperials. And we'll just do one more just to kind of drive the point home. To Fair Sago. And there you go. There's for Blondia. So kind of add just a little level of immersion, which is quite nice. But the last thing I want to show you guys is the new, well, not the new, but the legacy and current order system, so you can determine which one is best for you. Before we do that, I forgot, let me show you the new menu screens. So when you press inventory, this will kind of lag because I have the cheat mode up, so it's going to load in all the inventory of the game. You see how it kind of slides in? Well, it's now the same. I press cancel here. Go to quests, slides it in from the left and right sides of the screen. It did not used to do that before. All the menus now do that. So it's just a nice little addition, makes the game feel a little bit more polished rather than a random like pop, okay, the screen's up. So a nice little addition, like I said. So here we are in the battle map, and let's take a look at the current loadout for orders. This is the way the game is by default now. And you can see on the left over there, orders is F1, then we have, oops, a formation on F2, then toggle, hold fire, dismount, so on and so forth. But face this direction is F7. Okay, guys. Okay, there's no reason to crowd. Let's just all move right there. If I press escape, go to options, then go to gameplay. Scroll all the way down. You'll see order layout type. Click this to legacy, and then press done. So now if I press F1, F1 is still the order, but now F2 is face enemy, F3 is formation, F4, F5, S6, F7 are the way it used to be at the very start of the game. Guys, you're jocking my style right now. But that really covers everything in this patch. It is a little bit lighter of a patch, and we still have not seen the improvements to the siege towers, which they said is coming, as well as the dynamic battle map, which they said is probably going to be in 1.6.4 or 1.6.5, maybe later depending on how it works. I guess there were some issues they've run into with actually adding it into the game as far as whatever technical difficulties are running into. I'm not sure. I'm not a developer, but that is the kind of rumor that is going around right now in 1.64 or 1.65. Got it, guys. Got it. Just cheering your asses off. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. If you have any questions about this patch, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. I'll probably be playing a example of it this weekend on Saturday or Sunday, just kind of do a little bit of a stress test here on 1.6.4. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to comment, like, and or subscribe. But have a good one and take care.